Hi everyone, welcome to College Week Live with IIT. My name is Sam Sleva.
And I'm Tim Littman.
We're both admission counselors here in the office. I work with the western suburbs of Chicago in the southwest of the US and then Ohio as well, which is my home state. So if there's any of you here from those states or territories, I'll be working with you through the admission process. We have a number of counselors available and they're all assigned to different territories across the country. So we encourage you to get in touch, look up your counselor, and get to know them because we really do love to get to know all of our students throughout the admission process. So this is a great first step. Today we're going to talk about the admission process and the financial aid process. We'll give you some tips on filling out your application and give you a timeline for what you should be doing over your senior year. We will be accepting questions throughout the presentation, but we'll answer all of them at the end. So if you'd like to just type those in as you think of them, we are receiving them. We just won't be addressing those until the end of the presentation, so you might get some questions answered as we go.
Awesome. So let's jump right into it. How do I apply? The application process is online and free. We are members of the Common Application, so this is an online application that allows you to apply to multiple schools that are members. So if you're ever not sure how to access it or not sure if you're going to the right place, just go to apply.iit.edu and we'll have all that information in one place for you, have links to it, and explain these steps again in case you forget. But again, it's a free application online via Common Application, so that's the first step. So as a freshman student, it's slightly different. So if we're looking at ACT or SAT scores, so we will accept one or the other. You don't need to submit both. We do also super score. So if you have taken the test multiple times, we will create a new composite, which is the nice thing. We do also need a high school transcript. So basically you go into your guidance office, say I'm applying to XYZ schools, and they'll submit transcripts. Common App allows you to do that online as well. So they can send it to us electronically. It gets sent to us. It's wonderful. You could do that online. If your school doesn't do that, we will accept it via mail as well, but it does need to be official from the school. We also need one letter of recommendation from a teacher, counselor, coach, mentor, someone in your life that can kind of give us a good view of you. For here, a quick tip, we usually say quality over quantity. So if you have someone that you've worked with and they know you really well, we recommend you get that one versus 3 kind of generic letters from people that maybe not as familiar with you as you would like. So in that realm, quality definitely over quantity. And then on the right side of the screen, you can definitely see some recommended coursework. So we recommend 4 years of English, 4 years of math, 3 years of science, 2 years of social science. Definitely the math and science are our biggest focus. Being a tech school, but some of the programs have different focuses. But if you're looking at engineering, science, math, kind of those more heavy programs, recommend getting up to calculus if possible. If you're looking at more of architecture, maybe more artsy courses, definitely drafting, photography, those kind of things definitely will help you out in the end. On the transfer side, we do get students that do transfer to us from 2-year universities or other 4-year universities. So certainly we welcome students to go that route as well. For them, slightly different application process. Still go online, Common App. We also have an IIT application for transfer students only. For that one, you just need college transcripts. So again, if you've attended multiple schools, so multiple community colleges, we will need to see all of your college transcripts. We also need a letter of recommendation. We require at least one, but you can submit more than that. Again, quality over quantity. But then also a personal statement, which is built into the Common App. So kind of explaining your situation, where you are, why you're interested in transferring to us. And we do ask for that as well if you're looking to transfer. And if you do have less than 30 credit hours, we will ask for your high school information. So we'll need your high school transcript, ACT or SAT scores. And if you've been out of school for more than 2 years in general, we will probably recommend that you do go to community college for a semester or maybe a year just to kind of get some recent coursework, especially in the math and sciences. Just so that way you're fresh, because we don't want you to come here and struggle in our courses. We want to make sure you have something recent under your belt. And you can kind of see some of the recommended coursework in there. But coming in as a transfer student, you want to make sure you're taking courses that will transfer to IIT directly for our credit. And for local students, we do have transfer credit guidelines for local community colleges where we can tell you what courses will transfer over directly.
And if you do have any questions about courses or if you're planning to transfer, we do welcome you to come in and meet with an admission counselor or give us a call if you're not local. We can sit down with you and really work through your transcript to see which courses you should be taking for admission. A common question that we get with a lot of our applications is, what are your average ACT, GPA, SAT scores? You'll see these here on the screen. Our average GPA for last year's class was a 3.98. It's on a weighted scale. So we've got a lot of really great, smart students here at IIT. This is weighted, and we will always consider your weighted GPA. So if you're taking challenging courses, you will be rewarded for that in the admission process. You can see our average SAT and ACT range. So if you're falling within that, we do take a holistic approach to reviewing applications, so that is a good score to aim for. But just know that the higher and the better that you do, the more scholarships are available to you, and we will go over some of those opportunities in the future of this presentation. So. We do have a lot of direct admission programs as well. So if you know right now that you want to be a doctor or a lawyer or a pharmacy technician, you could actually go into these programs and apply in your senior year of high school to these programs. So we do have these direct admission programs. You do have to apply by February 1st in order to be considered. You would typically have to complete your bachelor's degree here at IIT, and then you're automatically entered into Midwestern University, IIT Chicago Kent College of Law. So there are some great opportunities with that.
We also have some other direct admission programs that are not listed here, but those aren't necessarily you apply in your senior year when you're applying to us. You apply once you're a student here, so you don't have to worry about those now. Just know that there are opportunities as well.
Mm-hmm. One of those would be the Rush Medical Program. You would apply for that at the end of your sophomore year at IIT. Another thing that I do want to touch on is the co-terminal degree option. Not something that you have to apply to now, but I think it's really great to know as you're considering schools. Our co-terminal program allows you to complete a bachelor's and a master's degree in 5 years. So you'll start taking master's level coursework during your senior year and then finish and save a little bit of time as well as money because your scholarships do carry over to that 5th year too. So I think that that's a really great opportunity. It can be difficult to finance your master's education, and sometimes it's hard to come back after you've been out of school for a while. So this is a good opportunity to know that exists. But you don't have to apply for this yet. You would apply during your junior year at IIT.
So application dates. So you're looking. So let's go back to now. So now you're looking at applying to IIT. So what are the deadlines? How do you do that? What's that process? So we have a priority deadline of December 1st. What does that mean, priority deadline? That means we want you to apply to us by December 1st to be considered for our top scholarships. We'll explain what that is a little bit later, but basically what I like to say is apply by Halloween. An easy day to remember. You don't have to think too much about it. Just get everything in, and then we have that little bit of flexibility of November to figure out, okay, what am I missing? Maybe the mail's slow this weekend, whatever the case is. Get it into us by Halloween. Again, don't have to worry about it. You have everything in. This is more for the freshman domestic students, but certainly everyone, we encourage you to apply early. But if you can't make that for whatever reason, we do go to rolling admissions after that. So we do accept applications up until August 1st for the incoming fall semester. So our classes start at the end of August, and we will accept applications up until August 1st for that semester. So certainly, if you go through and you're like, I wish I would apply to IIT, you can certainly do that later on. And we do also have a spring intake for transfer students. That one does have a November 1st priority deadline as well for that. Mm-hmm. And again, you don't have to remember all of this. Apply.iit.edu will have all of this information on there.
If you have already applied or if you're working on completing your application, we will start issuing admission decisions starting October 1st. And then after that, it will be on about a 2-week rolling basis. So you can just count on that as you're looking for timelines for when you'll hear a decision from us.
We like to call this the sticker shock. This is kind of the scary slide that people like to say. You can see our tuition price, $39,975 per year. And then room and board, about 10 to 13, depending on your choices. And then you do have some fees additionally. So this is a sticker shock, but we certainly are here to help. We want to make it affordable. So we do have scholarships available. So all students are automatically considered for these merit-based scholarships. You don't have to do anything else besides apply to us. And if you are admitted, you'll be considered for these scholarships. So for incoming freshmen, you're considered for the Henry T. Heald Scholarship. That starts at $13,000 per year. This is money that you don't have to pay back. It's your scholarship for being academically talented. International students are also considered for scholarships. They get what's called an international scholarship. That starts at $10,000, and those looking to transfer have the transfer scholarship that starts at $10,000 as well. In addition to the merit-based scholarships, we do have some full tuition scholarships. This is where that December 1st deadline comes in, but you're all going to apply by Halloween, right? Good. So this is our full tuition scholarship. This is called Cameras, named for one of our alum who developed magnetic recording. So if you have a credit card, hard drive, anything that is based on that technology, he's the inventor of it. So we thought it made sense to name a full tuition scholarship after him. So this one you just apply to IIT by December 1st, well actually Halloween. And then we will nominate our top applicants and ask them to submit additional information. So you don't need to do anything besides apply to us, and you'll be considered for this full tuition scholarship for incoming freshmen. Pretty good deal, right? In addition to that, we have a Crown Scholarship. So this is a full tuition for the 5 years of study for our architecture program. This one does have a separate application. It does require a freehand drawing, an essay, and an additional letter of recommendation separate from the IIT application. You submit that to our office by December 1st as well. And then we'll go ahead and review it. The College of Architecture will go ahead and select finalists to come interview with a panelist. And attend scholarship weekend in February and interview, and they will select one Crown Scholar a year, which is still a great deal for full tuition. It's not costing you any money. The application's free. Everything's free to be eligible for this full tuition. So if you're interested in architecture, it's a great program. This is our largest program for incoming freshmen. It's called the Duchossois Leadership Scholars Program. This is named for the IIT University Regent and Life Trustee Craig Duchossois. This is for students who show exceptional leadership potential as well as academic success. So this one does have a separate application. You apply to IIT, and you need to apply to this Duchossois program by December 1st. And you can find all these applications, information on our website, apply.iit.edu, so you don't have to remember it. And then you come interview for the Duchossois program up in February. This is fully funded tuition, room and board allowance, and optional summer experience. So this is a full ride in the true sense of the term. It's a great opportunity for students who maybe think they have leadership potential, they're not totally sure. Let us make that decision, and they will review all students that fill out an application, so I recommend everyone fill out the application for the Duchossois program.
So Tim just touched on all of our merit-based scholarships, and those are all based on your academics. We're not going to take any financial need into consideration at that stage of the process. Financial aid comes through in a separate process for us, and so I'm going to go through that piece. It's really important for you just to take a look at all of the costs that you're going to be responsible for. We try to be as upfront as possible about those so that you can really prepare. I think the more homework that you do at this point on what your costs are going to be, the better prepared you're going to be when you have to come to make a decision on what college you're going to attend. So these are all of the costs that we lay out. What you'll find is that we're a best value university. The average award for students between scholarships and grants was $32,000 last year. So that takes a very huge chunk out of that sticker price. I would say never rule out a school based on sticker price right from the beginning. You never know what you're going to get once you go through the scholarship and financial aid process. So we have been ranked very highly in being a best value. Our students are doing really well after they graduate and making great salaries and also receiving a lot of grants and scholarship monies to help them throughout the 4 years as well. There are a lot of different types of financial aid. As a senior in high school, this might be a confusing process for you right now. Just know that you have admission counselors like myself and Tim and financial aid counselors available to you. So once we get into the thick of this, you can definitely meet with one of us, and we're happy to go through this with not only you, but also your families, as we know that this is going to be an important thing for you all. Scholarships and grants are probably the best forms of financial aid. You don't have to pay those back. Those are discounted automatically from your tuition. So scholarships are based on academics. Grants are based on financial need, but it all is free money for you. So those are good things. Loans are a little bit different. You will have to pay those back once you graduate, and there are a number of different types of loans that you'll have to read a little bit more about as we get later on in the process, but we're always here to answer questions about those. And work study is money that is paid out to you through an on-campus job that is awarded to you through the federal government. That works a little bit differently too. The first step to getting any form of financial aid is to fill out the FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid. We will have you start filling this out starting January 1st. You won't be able to do that until then, but then once January 1st hits, I recommend that you fill that out as soon as you can. The priority deadline is February 15th, and that is because governmental money can run out at any time, and we're often given very little notice on when that happens. So it is all on a first-come, first-served basis, so the sooner that you fill out that information, the more you're guaranteed to get what you're eligible for. So we want you to do that as soon as possible. The IIT school code is on there too. You'll need that, but you can find that on our website as you go to fill out the form. Again, the FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. You'll see the school code here and the priority deadline of February 15th. I think Tim was talking a little bit about some tips for you on that. So.
Yeah, so if you are interested, go ahead and fill it out starting January 1st. But use last year's information, and then go ahead and update the information once you get your updated tax information. That way you get the FAFSA in, you can go and update it, and that won't affect it, but that allows you to get the most accurate information and be eligible for the most amount, because it's more about the submit date than the information on there at that point.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to show you a few handy resources as you're planning financially. This is a really great chart that can show what your family household income is and what you can maybe expect with total scholarships and grants. This is an estimate. You may get more or less, especially if you're considering your merit-based aid. So it can definitely be much higher if you are a really great student. But it's just a good way to start and take a look to research the financial piece. There is another great resource here. It's the net price calculator. You can just go to that website there, and you can actually plug in some of your family's financial information. It's totally safe, totally secure. It's literally just a calculator. It won't store any of the information that you input into it. But it can pop out what you might expect to pay or some scholarships and grants that you'll be eligible for at IIT. It does consider your GPA and your test scores, so if you want to go in and see what you might receive, this is the best way to do it, and so we encourage you to explore that. There are a lot of ways to improve your financial situation, especially at this stage of the game. You want to continue to maintain a really strong academic record. That's going to be your best way to receive money for college, whether it's from IIT or from a private scholarship search. You want to submit your FAFSA as soon as possible, as Tim and I have both said, and then you'll always be surprised with the amount of private scholarships that are available to you. I definitely encourage you to check out fastweb.com. There are a number of scholarships through different community organizations, cultural organizations. You can even get a scholarship for making your prom dress out of duct tape. So you'd be surprised at some of the funky things that you can get money for. It just takes a little bit of research on your end.
And the nice thing that one of our financial aid office has done is they compiled all the outside scholarships that IIT students have received, and they've kind of put that information and they break it down by students of color, students, women, engineers in general. So they kind of break it down by categories, so you can definitely search and see what scholarships are out there that are not necessarily IIT that will help supplement your education, because we definitely recommend every little bit helps, and even if it's like 500 here, 1,000 there, it adds up in the end.
And then the best way to really stay on top of everything is to make sure to be in communication with us. Everyone receives both an admission and financial aid counselor, so when it gets to be that time, we're always here to help you. So we're going to, here's our contact information if you do need to get in touch. We almost made it through the whole presentation without the technical issue. We were almost there. But we do want to give you a general timeline now that we've gone through everything. So September 4th today, you're going to want to get started on getting all of your application materials together, submit the Common App. Start asking your recommenders right now, start developing those relationships if you haven't done so already. Request your transcript and study and take the ACT or SAT and send it to us. That's where your focuses should all be right now. Tim loves the Halloween deadline. Definitely think it's a great idea. Give yourself an extra month ahead of time, definitely before December 1st. And you'll receive an admission decision starting October 1st or 2 weeks after you apply after that. Then you can just kind of sit around, enjoy your winter break, and wait for those admission decisions to roll in. So I love that December 1st deadline because it allows you to get all the work you need to do done way ahead of time. On January 1st, you'll submit the FAFSA, and we'll package you for financial aid March 15th, and then we'll send those out at that time. So by the end of March, you should have a full idea of what you can expect in terms of financial aid and scholarships. Then you have to just make your decision by May 1st. That's the national decision deadline. And so we will look forward to hopefully welcoming you to campus at IIT in August. So at this time, we're going to take questions. I see a few have come in, so we're going to go through those. The first question is, can you apply to the Rush University medical program with IIT as a senior in high school, or is it only for sophomores at IIT? I think we already did answer this. This must have come in before that. But yes, you do have to wait until you are going into your junior year. You'll apply over the summer after your sophomore year at IIT. And it does take into consideration those first 2 years of college. And then you'll apply at that time. We do provide all of our pre-medical students with pre-medical advising. So that can help you stay on track for preparing for the MCAT, getting all the courses in that are required for medical school, and also applying for that Rush program if you're interested. So I think it is a great resource to have as you're preparing for med school.
I see one. I heard that you had to be invited to Scholarship Weekend. In order to be invited to Scholarship Weekend, you had to get a 29 or above on the ACT. Is that true? That's not exactly true. These are students that are our top academic students, so they kind of fall on the upper end of our average and above that. But we kind of use a holistic approach, so we do consider lots of things. But definitely, if you're concerned about that, maybe consider retaking it and kind of do better on the ACT as well. But that's not the sole factor that determines your invite to Scholarship Weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the 29, it's a great ACT score, but it's also going to depend on what grades you have in your classes and what you're involved in. We really look for some leadership activities as well. So there's no perfect formula. I wish I could give you the perfect formula to get in, but there unfortunately is not one. So we're trying to give you as many resources as possible to get there. The next question is, are there any academic requirements for merit scholarships, or are you guaranteed a scholarship if admitted? Well, the number-wise, 97% of our students receive financial aid. If you're hitting our admission requirements, you will most likely receive some sort of scholarship, and those do start at about $13,000 and then go in any range from there up to the full tuition. So the answer is a soft yes on that, but there are always different factors that apply.
Question here, do you have a criminal justice program? The answer is no. But we do have the pre-law program. So if you're interested in going into law, criminal justice is slightly different, so we don't have a program specifically, but if you're interested in kind of going into law, we do have that pre-law program.
Mm-hmm. Does IIT offer pre-professional track for veterinary medicine? Yes, there's a pre-medical track for all students for any discipline that you'd like to go into. So we don't have any partnerships with veterinary schools, but you can take all of those prerequisites here. And that would be, you would be lumped in with the pre-medical group and pre-medical advising so that you can prepare for that.
Can you have an interview with IIT if you want? Yeah, certainly. The interview is not required to be admitted to IIT, but if you want to come in and meet with a counselor one-on-one, you can do that. We take individual visits Monday through Friday. You just need to go to visit.iit.edu, and you can talk with a mission counselor, get a campus tour. It won't have an impact on your admission decision, but it'll help kind of you understand if you have a good fit with IIT, what you may need to do specifically for your situation. Definitely recommend it if you want to. It's a good opportunity for you to find out more information about IIT. But so if you wanted to interview, in terms of scholarship, you do have to be invited for that scholarship weekend. If that's what that was in reference to.
Next question, what's the most important thing in college? That really depends on you, to be honest. I would say, first and foremost is academics. Of course, that's what you're there for. You're there to get a good education so that you can get a good job. But there are so many other important things in college. Time management is extremely important. Getting involved in really making college your own and making it the experience that is going to make you successful at IIT. So there's a lot of things. I would be happy to, if you have whoever asked that question, if you'd want to be a little bit more specific with what you're asking, then I'd be happy to answer that too.
Another question, do you have an engineering program? Yes, we have 10 different disciplines within engineering. So that ranges from mechanical engineering, which is our most broadest, to biomedical, to chemical engineering. So we have a wide variety of engineering programs. And if you are interested in that, again, math and science is, if you are interested in that, great opportunities for engineering programs. I'm going to take this next one too.
Okay.
So why do students choose IIT? I'm actually an alum. I studied psychology here, and then I actually got my master's from IIT in public administration. So I've been at IIT for 8 years now. I love it. That's why I'm still here. So why do students choose IIT? From my perspective, it's a small school in an urban environment that has a tight, close-knit community feel. The students that come here are usually the top of their classes, so they're very intelligent. They like to study. So academics are definitely a primary focus, but we also, students come here because they want to be immersed in Chicago. They love Chicago. We love, while we have our own campus and we definitely have a community campus feel, we definitely utilize Chicago. So students get what's called a U-Pass. Allows them to explore all of Chicago via the CTA, which is a public transit in Chicago for free, which is really nice. One of the things I miss by not being a current student. So there's a lot of reasons students choose IIT. So basically, small community feel, urban environment. I think there's a lot of things that, there's a lot of different reasons why students choose a school. That was my particular interest. I think there's a lot of different factors. IIT has a lot going for it. We're in a great place, both geographically, but also academically. When students come out of IIT, the fields in the industry know that our students are ready to handle the challenges that they're faced with. So, there's lots of different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything to add then? From what students that you talk to?
Yeah, I just think it really depends on a number of factors. I think a lot of students come for the community. I think if any of you visit, and we encourage you to do so, you'll see that. You'll find that with the staff members here, the faculty, and the other students. I think you'll automatically notice that when you come in. So I think that that's a huge piece too. And the academics are fantastic.
What are your guys' majors? So we're staff members, but like I said, I was an alum, so I studied psychology and public administration here.
Yeah, we don't have majors anymore. Are there study abroad opportunities? I'm going to take this one because I love study abroad, and I think every student should study abroad. There are countless study abroad opportunities, and especially for a lot of the STEM programs. I know it's very common for students in the STEM fields to think that it's impossible for them to study abroad because of the rigor of their coursework. That's not the case at all. You just have to plan carefully right from the beginning. So you really can go anywhere in the world. We have partnerships, we have exchange programs all over the world, and all you really have to do is go to our international center and talk to them about where you want to go, and they can make that happen for you. It's really exciting, and I definitely encourage you guys to pursue that opportunity.
Do you guys have dorm rooms? Yes, we do have residence halls on campus. We have 2 available to incoming freshmen. We have what's considered the traditional style. So that's 2 people per room, 1 bathroom per floor, a long hallway, very communal. Then we also have suite style. So 2 people per room, 2 rooms share a bathroom. So it's a little more private, it's a little newer space, but you do have to clean your own bathroom. So you kind of have that trade-off there. So we definitely have opportunities. And if you do come to visit campus, you'll get to see both of the options. And see where you'll be living. And some of them have a great view of downtown, which I'm very jealous of.
It is really cool. It's the best real estate you'll have in Chicago. You won't get that when you when you become a real person like us. What are the test scores required to come here to be admitted to IIT? Well, I can tell you our average is 25 to 30, so that's a good range to fall into. It really depends on your major, and it depends on the other factors involved. So if you want to go the engineering route and say aim for a 26, especially in the math, that's going to be a really important factor. Some of the humanities and other programs, we focused a little bit more on maybe your writing style and other things that we see in the application. So it just depends on what major you're applying for, but we do try to consider everything that you give us, so give us as much information as you can on the application.
So here's a 2-part question. Do you offer hands-on undergraduate research? Yes, absolutely. That's one thing that we encourage all of our students to get involved in if that's of their interest. So starting as incoming freshmen, most of our students can get involved in research. For me personally, I got involved in research my senior year, and I was definitely on a lab on campus, but we were looking at sustainable efforts and how we could influence people's behaviors to make it easier for them to be more sustainable. So there's lots of different research opportunities within engineering, within all of our science programs, within lots of different opportunities. So yes, if you're interested in hands-on undergraduate research, we certainly have that, and that's something we definitely encourage our students. We don't require it, but most of the programs have it built in one way or another.
And something that every student is going to be taking is our iPro, which is our interprofessional research opportunity. Tim got a mug from the iPro that he's showing you right now. The iPro is it is what it says, it's an interprofessional project. So you're going to be working with students from different disciplines. An engineering major is going to have a different perspective from a psychology major like Tim and a business major. The engineer might come up with this really fantastic idea that's really elaborate, and the business major might come and turn around and say, well, how are we going to pay for this? And those are really important perspectives to all have as you're going out into the real world and looking through those projects. We partner with different companies around the Chicago area, different professors who are doing research. We do some entrepreneurship iPros, which are actually called NPros, that are very cool, and we get students involved in different fields. So that's something all students are required to take, and I think it's really the hallmark of the IIT experience. The second part to that question was, what is your placement rate at medical school? I don't have an exact rate for you. I don't have that information, but I can tell you that all of our pre-medical students are very well prepared for medical school. Our students are getting into Tier 1 and Tier 2 medical schools, which just to get into medical school in general is a very big feat. It's a much more difficult process than applying to college. Having a strong science background and also a technology background is huge to get into med school, because as you go into the hospitals, you'll understand that a lot more things are run by technology. So you have a leg up on the competition by having that background in your education.
Yeah, and one of the nice things is we have pre-med advising within the science department, within the psychology department, as well as the biomedical engineering department. So while we have, you can, as Sam said, you can major in anything we have at IIT, but those are kind of the ones where we have the advisors specifically, because those tracks we tend to see. But with the MCAT change that's happening this year, there's a bigger focus on psychology, so we're starting to see a lot more students go into psychology or other fields that maybe not as common for med school, and that's what med schools are looking for. So we definitely have advantage by coming here, and our students, most of them tend to stay in the Chicagoland area, or they go back home to med school that's around by them just for personal preference.
What is there to do for fun on campus? There are a million things. First of all, you're in the city of Chicago, so if you can't find anything fun to do on campus, which I will challenge you to try to not find something to do, you can always go out to Chicago and go to the concerts and the restaurants and the museums. So you have that, first of all. On campus, we have a number of different organizations who program fun events. And we have something called The Bog, which has a bowling alley in it, a little area where they do karaoke nights, or they did a poetry slam a few weeks ago, and a K-pop party. It's very versatile, and they do a lot of different things there. We've had hackathons. We've had video game nights in the student center where we bring a bunch of stand-up video games and everyone kind of hangs out there and plays into the late night. Really anything that you want to do and get involved in, you can find here, whether it's intramural sports or rock climbing club or video game club, those kinds of things. There's a lot of things that you can do. And Chicago is at your fingertips. What are some other schools similar to IIT? We're in a consortium with a number of other technology schools. So we'll be similar to MIT, Caltech, Virginia Tech, Georgia, all the techs, that makes sense. Rose-Hulman, those kinds of schools. And
then within Illinois, some similar schools are like U of I, so Urbana-Champaign, University of Chicago, Northwestern, that have high caliber programs, but also kind of diverse student bodies as well.
Mm-hmm. Can you apply while still in high school? Yes, as long as you're a senior and as long as you will be completing your high school degree in May, then you will be able to apply, and we encourage you to do so while you're still in high school.
Yep, by Halloween.
What do you look for in the application essay? Do you have any tips? Yeah, we have lots of tips for you. I've read countless essays. I have read some really, really fantastic essays and some really, really horrible essays. So I would say the best thing that you can tell us is really the best part of you. Give us all of the information that you can. Showcase something that shows us what kind of student you're going to be, what kind of personality you're going to bring to IIT. Make sure that your true essence comes through in that essay. And that is something that is not very easy to do. I would not submit your first draft of this essay. You need to read it through over and over and over again, have a bunch of other people read it. Make sure that when someone reads that essay, they say, yep, that sounds just like you. That's going to determine whether or not you're going to be a fit here at IIT. Make sure that it's grammatically correct. I'm an advertising major, so grammar is extremely important to me. So we'd really like to see good grammar. Even if you're going into the STEM field, writing is still very important. And I just would tell you to, if you have gone through anything that does need explaining, give us all that information too. The more that we know about you and your academic history, the better that we can get to know whether or not you're going to be a successful fit here at IIT. And really that's the point, is to determine whether or not you're going to be successful. You're not necessarily competing against other students in the admission process. You're just competing against yourself to make sure you're showing us the best of you.
Question, did either of you take part in the co-general program? If so, what did you think about it? Unfortunately, I did not. This is a new program. It's in its second year now. So I graduated 4 years ago. Ugh.
He's too old.
I'm too old. So definitely did not go through this co-general program, but I would have loved to, because it does accelerate. And I do know students that are going, some of our students in this office that work here are going through this, and they love it because it allows them to get that master's. They know what they're paying already, so they're just paying that for one additional year because they're keeping all their scholarship from the university. So it allows them to get that master's program, makes them more competitive, kind of diversifies what they're interested in. So some students are in engineering. I know some in other programs, like the sciences, that are also doing it as well. So students that are taking part in it love it. It's not for everyone, and you're not required to do it, but it's just an option, which is nice to know that you have that.
Mm-hmm. One of our student ambassadors is doing it for the chemical engineering. So he's finishing his master's this year, and he loves it because, I mean, what's not to love? He's going to graduate with a master's, and all of his scholarships carry over. So it's pretty great.
Last question here. I see. Can I come in undecided? Do you want to take that one?
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely encourage you to come in undecided. It's very common nationally for students to either come in undecided or change their major once they get to school. That's very normal, and that's okay here at IIT as well. If you come in undecided, it gives you the room to explore many different options. You'll start in the Lewis College of Human Sciences, or you could come in specifically as undecided engineering, but you do have to indicate that in your application, or undecided science. So if you know you want to be in those fields generally, that's a good way to really explore within a specific program. We definitely think it's a great option for you. And the best part about IIT is that you have very specific programs that are all along a similar theme. We're going to be teaching you practical knowledge that you can take into the real world, no matter what program you're doing. So everything's going to be relevant for you to really set you on the right path to be successful when you graduate. So I don't think that you can really make a wrong choice at this point. We don't expect you at 18 or 17 or 18 to have your whole life figured out. We don't have our life figured out either, so it's okay.
All right. But if you do have your life figured out, that's totally fine too. We get lots of those students as well. They're like, I want to do this, 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 and we love those students because it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. Can you explain the partnership with Vandercook? So yes, we have a great partnership. For those of you, let me first of all explain what Vandercook is. Vandercook is a school of music that is not affiliated with IIT, but their campus is located within our campus. And so we allow our students to take music classes at Vandercook with the reciprocity agreement. So IIT students can take Vandercook classes. Vandercook students can take IIT classes. There's just a small separate application to do so, but it's very easy to apply, and you'll just do that once you're here. Yeah, you're eligible to take any courses that they offer. So we do see a great pairing between students who are interested in the STEM fields and music, a very common thing, and that's kind of what drives this partnership. It's been really successful for all of our students.
The nice thing is you can also do private lessons. So if you're maybe not necessarily, I don't want to join an ensemble, I don't want to do anything, I just want to take some lessons. Maybe you're really good at clarinet and you want to keep doing it. I played clarinet in high school. You can certainly do that, and it's $350 for the semester, and you can kind of take lessons for the entire semester for $350. And if you're in music, you know that's a big deal, and that's really cheap. So it's a great opportunity. So Vandercook's great. We also have Scheimer College on our campus, which is a great books college. So they are more on the liberal arts, humanities sides. They kind of focus on the original works. very famous works that they kind of focus on discussions, and they take a very scientific approach to it as well. So it's another great pairing. So if you, we have great humanities programs here, but if you wanted to kind of get something that's a little more out of IIT's realm, we have Shimer College. And that one you actually don't have to pay to take courses, which is really nice. Mm-hmm. And they're also located on our campus, just like Vandercook.
Yeah, you don't have to walk any further. So we're just going to take one more minute just to see if any other questions come in. We're out of questions here. So if you have any last questions, feel free to type those in now. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for joining us today. We're so sorry about the technical difficulties, but thank you for sticking around. And we hope that you got the best out of this presentation, and that now that you're prepared to go on and complete your applications and successfully go through the process. You have our contact information. Definitely get in touch with your admission counselor, whoever they may be. You can find all of the contact information with territories for each of the counselors listed on our website. So please take a look at that. But good luck on your application. We have one more question. It just came in. With an application to IIT, could I take a minor in music at Vandercook? Yes,
absolutely.
You can. A lot of students choose to do that. It's more of the classical side of music, so working with music theory, but you can take those lessons too. So it's definitely more of the technical side.
The way minors work at IIT, you don't have to declare those coming in, but the way it works is it's 5 courses that you take here in a particular interest. So music is one of those, and it's done exclusively through Vandercook. So that's something you work out with your advisor and Vandercook and say, I want to do this minor, and they'll work with you to make that happen. So yes, you certainly could do that.
We have 2 majors, like engineering and music. It is difficult to do a double major within engineering because it is a very specific major with a lot of different requirements. Technically, it would be possible. It would just take you much longer, which I don't know if that would be worth your time or your money. But I would recommend just doing the major with a minor. You're going to get quite a bit out of that, and I think that it would help you achieve the same goal.
And the other thing about Vandercook is it's a music education, so they're teaching you to become a music educator. So you're going to learn all the instruments, you're going to go through that. So if you're interested in majoring in music, know that if you're going to go through Vandercook, that it is music education and not necessarily like just general music. So that's also something you can do there.
Okay, well, those are all of the questions that we have today. Once again, thank you guys so much for meeting with us. We'd like to invite all of you to the academic overview. We're going to be doing a webcast going over all of our specific majors, some of the differences between some of the more confusing majors, like the difference between computer science and information technology, or computer science and computer engineering, that kind of thing. We'll do a full overview of all of those different programs. That'll be October 29th at 7 p.m., so it's the same time here. That's all in Central Time, so if we have people in other time zones, we hope that accommodates your schedule as well. So we hope you'll join us on October 29th. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, feel free to call our office or send us an email. So
thank you, guys.
Have a wonderful night.